We continue to inch closer and closer to hockey season as we sit here on Tuesday, August 18th. What is going on, Florida Panthers Daily? I am Andrew Sheridan, back here with you for a club going up on a Tuesday edition of Florida Panthers Daily, part of the fan arch community right here on YouTube every single day. Our videos are dropping at 11. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music as well, but I'm so happy that you are here for the ride with us. I hope you are subscribing as we continue to close in on that goal of 500 subs before the start of the NHL hockey season. We got some comments from you yesterday. We will get to those, and then we will get to our vote for this week. That is all up to you. We got a jam-packed show here today, and we will make it as quick and informative as we can. And before we start, just hit that subscribe button for free, and you can watch us every single day as we go 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, keeping you up to date with everything you have to know about the Cats as we head in to this upcoming season. But first, let's speculate a little bit. Let's jump in because the news broke yesterday that Connor McDavid is to receive the first 99 overall rating in the upcoming NHL 27 hockey game. And it's funny because I was going to do this segment today regardless and go through what I think some of the Florida Panthers should be ranked in the upcoming NHL 27 game, because that is what really got me into hockey. That game was my favorite video game growing up. Obviously, you play the Maddens. You play the 2Ks, you play the PGA Tours, you play the show, you play NHL. You play all the sports games, you play the Call of Duty, sure, you play the Fortnite, yeah, growing up, come on. I know you even, no matter what age you were, you hopped on the Fortnite grind right around the COVID era because there wasn't much to do besides grind and play Fortnite. It was a way you were still able to connect with friends, and that's what makes video games so awesome. And I'm not going to sit here and say I game a lot. To be honest with you, I'd rather watch a real game on the TV. And where I live now by myself, I like to be in the same room as someone when I play, so we can talk you know what, and if we need to mess with each other, we can. But the upcoming NHL game, the ratings aren't yet out for the players, so I want to go ahead before and speculate on what some of the rankings might be for the Florida Panthers. We know Connor McDavid has been announced as the first player ever to be a 99 in the upcoming video game. But what is something that 99 overall player wasn't able to accomplish and hasn't accomplished? I'm not going to sit here and say he's not the best player in the world. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the most exciting player to watch. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not just uber talented, but he's never won a Stanley Cup. And he's never beat the likes of Alexander Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk in a 7-game series. And Sergei Bobrovsky isn't on the team anymore, but he couldn't beat that goaltender. And sure, he may be a year or two out of his prime, and that is why Bill Zito and company let him walk. But Connor McDavid gets the 99, rightfully so. I'm not going to sit here and complain about it, but I just want to think, what are the Florida Panthers going to be coming in at in this upcoming video game? Will they get the respect that they deserve for beating said Connor McDavid and back-to-back Stanley Cup finals? Sure. Florida Panthers are coming off a down year, right? Does that mean that they get penalized in the rankings for it? Was a player being injured last year like Matthew Tkachuk, like Alexander Barkov? Do they get punished on it because people don't have the recency bias? You can't say that they do, because Connor McDavid had their worst team season that they had in the last 3 years last season. So you can't, if you use that same logic, come and say, okay, Barkov, little different situation coming off an injury. But let's say Matthew Tkachuk. You can't say he's not going to be the best version of himself just because the team didn't have a good year last year. So I'm going to go ahead and predict where I think some of these players for the Florida Panthers might be in the upcoming video game. I think Sasha Barkov still has the respect, has the pedigree, has the C on his jersey for a reason. He is known as the best two-way player in the NHL, and I think that's what makes him the best player on this Florida Panthers team when it comes to NHL 27, is because of his defensive skills that we love to watch from Sasha Barkov. I will have Sasha Barkov, Alexander the Great, at a 96 overall. That is where I would have him. And sure, I'm sure some of these rankings are going to be a little bit high, but this is Florida Panthers Daily. We are here to hype up and talk about the Florida Panthers. So give me a 96 for Alexander Barkov. Now you have two brothers that I want to rank before we get out of here today. And obviously you know exactly who they are. You go out and you get a Brady Tkachuk in the offseason. You bring in and pair him up with his brother Matthew Tkachuk that are coming off a gold medal together in last year's Olympics. Where do each of them fall in the upcoming NHL 27 game? I think they are both above 90. They both have the net foot presence. They both have the physicality. They both have the, I don't know if getting under your skin is actually something in the NHL game, but if it was worth something, that would give the Kachucks a big boost, as it would for a lot of players on this Florida Panthers team. If you give Alexander Barkov a 96, like I did, I think I'll go ahead and give Brady a 91. I'll leave him a little worse because I'm going to give his brother Matthew a 92. Now, my biggest concern about this Florida Panthers team coming into the year is the goaltending. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily a concern. If you've watched us and you're subscribed here on Florida Panthers Daily as we run again close to that 500 subscriber number, you know I'm not too worried about the goaltending because of the defense in front of Jacob Markstrom. And where will Jacob Markstrom be? Coming off a little bit of a down year, but if you look at the second half of his year last year, and how much does this play in? Or does it go off metrics? I don't know exactly how they create their ratings, but that is what makes these games and the ratings so fascinating, and that's why McDavid deserves the 99. I'm going to say Jacob Markstrom will be in the 80s. I'm going to say the mid-80s. I don't think he will be in the high 70s. I don't necessarily think he'll be threatening that 90 threshold either. I think Jacob Markstrom will be anywhere from an 83, maybe even an 82, up to an 86. I think with that defense in front of him, again, that doesn't have any effect on the rating, I wouldn't think, but in real life it will. And that is the difference. Video games are not real life. Now let's just hit on one more player before we get up and we move on here. Not get up and get out of here just quite yet. We're just getting going. we're on this Tuesday edition of Florida Panthers Daily. And let's go to a guy like Gustav Forsling. A guy that doesn't get enough respect, but a guy that has been a key, an integral part of winning Stanley Cups for the Florida Panthers, and maybe one of the most underappreciated, underrespected players, not only on the Florida Panthers, but in the entire National Hockey League. Where does a guy like that fall in the NHL video game? It's tough to say because he is such a good defenseman, but I would say even Aaron Ekblad is a bigger name. Radko Gudas might be more well-known than Gustav Forsling because of maybe controversy, and we don't have to get into that. But I think that is absurd. So where does NHL put Gustav Forsling? If it's me, he's a 92 at worst. At worst. And I'm sure maybe some of the offensive skills lower you because you're not as high in there, but his defensive skills have to outweigh that. You would think. You got to have him at least at a 92. I would probably have him at a 93. Where do I think the game will have him? 88? 89? Is that crazy to say? I think it is crazy to say, but I don't think it's crazy to say that that is where the NHL video game will actually have it. If you enjoyed this, we can go through a few of the players tomorrow. Leave it in the comments down below if you want me to keep going through this series idea of where the players fall or where they might fall, as Connor McDavid has now received his 99, the first ever player to receive a 99 in the upcoming NHL video game. But it got me thinking, and I was thinking of doing this segment beforehand, and then I saw that news. But let's move on it now to the vote that we have here on Florida Panthers Daily this week. If you are new here, if it is your first time on Florida Panthers Daily, and you're still hanging out with us after the NHL video game talk, we do a vote every week on Florida Panthers Daily. That is why you got to be subscribed so you can be part of the action every single week. Leave your comments down below. And this week it is the best game this upcoming season for the Florida Panthers. We started this yesterday on Monday, and as we sit here on August 18th, we have another first round matchup. Yesterday we did the 3 versus the 6 seed. Today we are doing the 4 versus the 5 seed. And not necessarily all these have to be home games. And in fact, one of these isn't. Today's matchup features the number 4 seed Brady Tkachuk return to Ottawa on October 21st. That one is going to be fun. I think that's the only way you can explain it. He's going to be getting booed from the crowd, I believe, even though he was a captain there. I don't think they like the way it ended. I don't think that they like that he ended up within the division. So we'll see how that return happens on October 10th. But is it a better game than when the aforementioned Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers visit Sunrise on November 17th? Because this matchup still has the fire. And I won't say rivalry, but it still has the old flame. It's like catching up with an old flame. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And that is what it is. On November 17th. That will be a fun one. One of the best ones inside Emirates Bank Arena this upcoming season. So for the matchup to set our semifinals for tomorrow, leave in the comments down below. What game are you looking more forward to this season for the Florida Panthers? Is it the Brady Tkachuk return on the road in Ottawa, or is it when the Edmonton Oilers and Mr. 99 come to Sunrise? Comment down below, Oilers or Ottawa. or however you want to. I'll understand what you mean. You can say road game, you can say home game. I will know what you mean, but go ahead and leave that in the comments down below. Before I move on to Alexander Barkov here, I do want to hit on something that I missed yesterday when we talked extensively about Brad Marchand, now probably missing the entire training camp and probably the start of the season as well. I want to give credit to Armando. He said there's still not been a regular season game where all three of Matthew Tkachuk, Brad Marchand, and Seth Jones were all on the ice together for the Florida Panthers. They have won a Stanley Cup champion where they have been together and on the ice together in the offseason, but there's not been a regular season game. And it doesn't look, after what we talked about yesterday, that Brad Marchand will be on the ice and ready to go for the start of the year. Still trying to see how that one will play out. And one of you left a comment yesterday that we'll get to before we hit on that just a little bit more. But I want to go back and mention how Alexander Barkov was able to go over to Finland and see his exhibit at the Finnish Hockey Hall of Fame. He said he's a little worried that a young player is going to come up and take his spot and just kick him out right away. But you can see in the video from when he was over at the Finnish Hall of Fame just how much it means to him and what it means to be in that Hall of Fame. And a debate that we had here on Florida Panthers Daily just a week ago was, is Alexander Barkov already in the Hall of Fame if he retired today? And my answer is clearly yes. We went in depth why just last week, but he's already in the Finnish Hall of Fame, which obviously I'm not saying that because you're in the Finnish Hall of Fame, you deserve to be in the NHL Hall of Fame. No, not at all. But a player of Alexander Barkov's legacy, stats, I'm not going to run through them all. You can go back to last week's video and watch that again. Selkies, Stanley Cup trophies, the captain, the turnaround, one team his entire life. All that to me adds up to Hall of Fame, even if he retired as I'm recording this and called it quits, which he's not going to do. And if he did, I might do the same thing because, man, I would be down in the dumps. It would make for good video. It would make for good content. I would probably get more subscribers. A lot of you would come on to want to see what we think and vent it out in the comments together, and I hope you would. But let's hope we don't have to talk about that for many years down the line. But as we talked about just a minute ago, your comments that you leave every single day, we get to those right here on Florida Panthers Daily. That is why you got to go on and leave your comments every day. Carl yesterday said, as long as Marchand is the only injury, we will be fine. But the stars are starting to line up a little bit while Patrick Laine is still hanging around South Florida. Say, bring him in, give him a chance, and at least let him battle it out with Sandis Vilmanis for a chance to fill in for Brad Marchand. And yes, couldn't agree more with you, Carl. That is kind of what we hit on a little bit yesterday. It's just kind of, like you said, the stars are lining up. If you do the math, it looks like that could be a perfect fill-in with the pedigree or with the experience that he's had with Paul Maurice that we hit on yesterday. As Brad Marchand looks like he will be out for the entire training camp. Doesn't necessarily sound like the worst thing the more I think about it. Make sure he comes back 100%. There is no need to rush this. He also said, shout out for the Gudis and the Rats and the honorable mention last week, and that is all because of you. You guys remind me of that in the comments down below. And if I forget something, I will sit here and say right hand up. Not proud of it. Man enough to admit it. All right, Florida Panthers Daily. We will be back tomorrow with a Hump Day Wednesday episode of Florida Panthers Daily. So make sure you are subscribed down below. Leave your comments for what game you are looking more forward to this year. Is it when Brady Tkachuk returns to Ottawa to take on the Senators? Or is it when Mr. 99 and Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers come to Sunrise? Leave it in the comments down below. We will have our first semifinal matchup of the week tomorrow. We'll have another one on Thursday, and we will pick a winner on Friday. Had some fun with you today. Subscribe, comment, do all the good stuff. We will be back with you tomorrow. And until then, Florida Panthers Daily, let's go Cats.